Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for taking time to join in today's webinar. My name is Megan, and I'm the planning specialist of GoodWe Solar Academy. We are delighted to be able to host the webinar with Dorman Projects on the topic of Meet Solar Storage Integrated Solutions. So let me just quickly introduce our panelists, and we will get started. Okay, from GoodWe, we got David Havenga, our GoodWe Technical Manager of Southern Africa. And David will be followed by Jack Stone, who is the Senior Solution Manager of GoodWe Solar Academy. And finally, we will have Errol Dorman, who is the founder and the CEO of Dorman Projects. And I'd like to invite you to share your thoughts and comment and questions with our panelists in the live chat section provided. And we will be posting some of your questions to the panelists during the Q&A session. Okay. And now I'd like to introduce more details of our first panelist. David is our GoodWe Technical Manager for Southern Africa, who has been working in the solar industry for almost 5 years. And he is highly adept in fault finding and is a part of the GoodWe teams to implement customer service and support to Southern Africa. And he will talking to us about the current situation of solar storage markets in South Africa. Over to you, David.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hi, my name is David, and I'll just be going through our company profile and our product portfolio with you guys. So GoodWe has a global presence. We're in many countries all around the world. We have over 1,200 employees, over 2,200 R&D engineers. We have 130 of our own patents and a 12 gigawatt production capacity. So in our full product portfolio, we have over 10 different kinds of storage products that cover both single and three-phase. We have a large R&D staff, over 200 R&D staff members with 60 software engineers. And our goal is to more than double that within the next few months, next year, so that we can bring you more products, more and better products that specifically designed for our markets. Our inverters and monitoring is all developed in-house. We also have a TUV Rhineland certified testing facility. With our smart energy management system, that is the SEMS portal, we have over 577,000 total power plants and 599,000 inverters that are using the SEMS portal. Many customers also use third-party platforms, but we have over a total of 13,103 gigawatt hours total power generation that we can monitor via the SEMS management platform. And for our data collection, both our string and storage inverters are able to collect electricity consumption day and night, but these string inverters can only achieve that with our home kit. So just a little bit about the awards and achievements that our company has had in the last couple of years since our inception. So in 2018, we ranked top 4 of the three-phase string inverter globally. We also won the Red Dot Award for Best Designed Solar Inverter. Between 2017 and 2020, we've won the EUDP Top Brand for 4 years consecutively. That's for Australia and the Netherlands. And in 2019, we won the Wood Mackenzie Award for World's #1 Hybrid Storage Inverter Supplier. And one of our biggest achievements is the TUV Rhineland All Quality Matters Award. We won that 2015 all through to 2019. So we're the only brand that has won this award more than 3 years in a row. And we have done this for 5 years consecutively. So just a brief overview of all of our string inverters. So some of these models are not available in our local market, but just show them all here to you. You'll find locally, you'll find our DNS inverters, which are the string inverters from 3 to 6 kilowatts, as well as the SDT, which is a 3-phase inverter, which ranges from 4 to 12 kilowatt, depending on the market needs. Our distributors will stock different models. Then we have the SMT and the MT, which is 25 kilowatts to 36. And then we have the 50 to the 80 kilowatt. And very soon we'll have our HD range in South Africa as well, which is up to 12 MPPTs. And that ranges from 100 kilowatt all the way up to a 250 kilowatt. Then we move on to our storage inverters. So the same like the on-grid, not all models are in South Africa, but you'll see the ES inverter, which is our most popular model in South Africa, the 3.6 and the 4.6 as we know it, which is the 5048 ES. We have the EMs as well, but they're not as popular due to the 2.3 kilowatt backup limitation, which is a 50 amp charge and discharge. They have MPPT ranges of 3 kilowatts to 5 kilowatts. We also are introducing the EH series into South Africa, which is very similar to the ES series, except they use the high voltage batteries, and they range from 3.6 up to 6 kilowatts. Another product that we should also be introducing soon is the ESA, which is an all-in-one solution with battery modules. The next, which is model which is available in South Africa, is the ET, which use the high voltage battery, and those are the 3-phase hybrid inverters. And in South Africa, you'll most likely only find the 10 kilowatt. And quite soon, we will be launching the BTC range in South Africa, as well as a similar range to the AES for the South African market. So the AES ranges from 5 to 9.6 kilowatts on single phase, but with the high voltage batteries will the model be for South Africa. And then the BTC and ETC range, we'll first just have the BTC range, which is for the CNI storage. Those will first come out as 50 kilowatt modules. And that's all for the introduction. And I'll just show you some of the power plants around the world with GoodWe inverters, like this 12 kilowatt installation in Sydney, Australia. Also a 4 megawatt on the Bosch factory in India. In Rotterdam, Netherlands, we have a 12 megawatt project with our MT inverters. There's a small 200 kilowatt installation in Melbourne, Australia. And lastly, here's a project in progress with Dorman, South Africa, a 1 megawatt in South Africa. Thank you very much. I'll hand you over to Jack.
And thank you, David, for guiding us through the solar storage market in South Africa. Our next speaker is Jack Stone, who is the Senior Solution Manager and Overseas Supervisor of our GoodWe Solar Academy, who is in charge of GoodWe Global Energy Service System application and technical support. Jack will be taking us through the details of GoodWe Solar Storage Integrated Solution.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack from GoodWe Solar Academy. And today I'm sharing the GoodWe integration solutions with you guys. Actually, the GoodWe integration solutions is not a solar system, nor any storage system. It's you know, the features of storage system. Okay. Oh, here you can see. For integration, actually, it means for GoodWe inverters, we can say here, the first is the one-stop package. It means all the components related to the inverter, all the hybrid inverters. If you, in a system, maybe you need a smart meter, you need a Wi-Fi module to do monitoring. And also maybe you need other components, So it means all the necessary components for the energy storage. All right. Sorry for interruption. So we go. For the one-stop package solution, it means all the components actually inside the motor, inside the box with the motor. You don't have to purchase any components, any other components except for the motor. Okay. And another one, it means the functions integrated. Functions integrated, it means for one piece unit. So for the inverter, hybrid inverter, okay, it can connect PV, it can connect solar, it can connect battery, it can communicate with battery, or it can provide the backup power supplies ability. You don't have to buy another unit, another function unit. Okay, it's, all the function units is integrated in same unit. Okay, so we call it functions integrated. It means when inverter units, they can realize different functions. And also because it has different functions, integrated functions. So for the single piece unit of the inverter or the hybrid inverter, it can be used. It can be used in different scenarios. Okay, for example, if you use the hybrid inverters with the battery for self-use, for increased self-use, or for backup supply, or you want to use it to shave the peak demand of your house, then it can all realized. Okay, or you can combine all the scenarios together. Okay, you don't have to buy another kind of a unit function units to realize the different scenarios. Okay. Okay, let's debate one by one. The first about one-stop purchasement. It means when you buy the inverter, you purchase the inverter, you put order, and all the necessary components. Like I said, all the necessary components will be delivered with the inverter. You don't have to purchase separately. Okay, like here you can say Wi-Fi module, smart meter, and the CTs is all included in this order. You don't have to purchase separately. Again, it's easier. And then because before I have talked with the customers, a few customers, and he complained about the purchasement with the other brands. Not all the brands, of course. Some of the brands, he said. The first time he purchased inverter, but when the inverter arrived, he found there's no Wi-Fi modules inside. Okay, then he contacted the provider, the manufacturer, and the manufacturer told him you have to purchase separately about the Wi-Fi module. Then okay, the customer purchased another Wi-Fi module, and a few days later, when the Wi-Fi module arrived. And he want to try to set up the system, but our system does not work normally. Okay, so he asked for the solutions from the providers, from the manufacturers again, and the service guy told him it does not work normally because there is no energy meters inside, because all their hybrid inverters. They need the smart meter to work with it. But the smart meter is not sent together with inverter, and also you have to put another order, a separate order with for the smart meters for the inverter. Okay, so if if all components you should separately purchased, it means it's very easy for the purchasement for the orders to forget that, because a lot of people, a lot of the customers, they do not know clearly, which components is needed, is required, and which is not. And also for hybrid inverters and storage system, and there are also a lot components is optional. It means if you need function, for example, like the bypass switch. Okay, some people need it, some do not. Okay, and also have other components. Okay, so for here it means if you put the purchase order, and if the purchase order does not include every necessary components inside, so it could be lead to mistakes from the purchasement. Okay, and for GoodWe hybrid inverters, it means if we put order, we have all the necessary components inside. So this is you can say it's advantages for the purchasement. Okay. Another is the integrated solution. Integrated solution, another benefit is it's easier for the installation. Okay, this is a very big advantage for GoodWe inverters actually. From this diagram, you can see because, like I said, the inverter is integrated with all the function units, and it can be used. It can be used for different scenarios. Okay, so the backup supply circuit, the MPP circuit, battery connection circuit, DC-DC circuit, it's all integrated inside the inverter. You don't have to purchase another separate unit. So if we compare with other brands, not all the brands, some of the brands, okay, it's for GoodWe energy storage systems, you can save the time for installation another backup unit. Okay, I think for European brands, a lot of European brands, their solutions is not discoupled. They use AC coupled solutions, and AC coupled solutions, it means you have to work with another ongoing inverters, and also they need a separate backup unit if you need the urgent emergency power supply. Okay, so for GoodWe solution, all the unit function is integrated inside in the inverter. So if you install one inverter, it means you have installed all the system. So it can save a lot of time and save a lot of space. So it's very easy, and it's also very flexible for the installation price. And sometimes if you install inverters inside your house, maybe the space is not enough. Maybe the price for the installation is very small. Okay, it cannot fit for 2 or 3 units together installation together. So for GoodWe solutions, they can save a lot of space for that, and also save time. And also in some places like Australia, like European countries, for the installations, it's very costly. Okay, like in Australia, maybe I think it's around $80 to $100 per hour for the installation, and for Europe, it's also same, almost the same. Okay, so the save the time for installation, it means save the time for money, save the money for the installation. Okay. And this one is all the functions, like just the further explanation about how our inverters is produced. Okay. So here, like I say, the MPP tracking function here, solar input is integrated in the same unit, and the DC-DC for battery connection, battery charge discharge. Okay, it's the same. Integrated in the unit, and also they use the same boost. Okay, and the DC-AC conversion unit, bypass switch. Okay, bypass switch. It's not just the bypass switch actually. It's also the bypass circuit is integrated inside the inverter. Okay, bypass, it means it can switch automatically from on-grid scenario to off-grid scenario if during the outage. It's automatically. And another is AC/DC battery charging. Okay, the battery can supply the battery can be charged from the AC side. Also, it also integrated the AC coupled unit function. Okay, we call it discoupled, but it also included the functions of all AC coupled inverters. Okay, so it's totally one unit, overall one unit. And also another one is the backup output unit. Backup output unit is not separated outside. It's also integrated inside inverters. We put all the function units together in the same unit in our hybrid inverters. They have a few benefits, except for installation, actually, and also except for the purchasement. It means all the function units is integrated inside, and the testing, the design, the testing is all about all the function units. Okay, for example, if for the system, the hybrid inverter, the backup supply box, maybe the DC-DC converter is outside an inverter. So if you buy the inverter and all the parameters, all the efficiency is about only the DC to AC conversion units. It's not about the whole system. So for GoodWe hybrid solutions, we put all the units together and we test all the units together. So all the parameters, all the efficiency is about the whole system. The efficiency will be higher because the costs less about the cable loss, less cable loss, and also the cooling system and the cooperation of each unit, each functions units, it's all integrated. Okay. So this is one unit, one very big efficiency benefits about the efficiency, about the whole unit's efficiency. Okay. Also about the scenarios, because all GoodWe hybrid inverters has integrated all the function units inside, and it's designed for different scenarios. And we put all the scenarios compatibility inside one unit. So for one unit, you can realize solar self-use, increased self-use. You can use that with battery pulse. And also it can used for time of use price strategy. Also for peak shaving, actually peak shaving we can say it's a load shaving, okay, load demand shaving, because for some place peak shaving is called for commercial scenarios normally. But for residential scenarios, if the load power is very high, like if you in your house you have electrical vehicle for charging, and the charging power will be high, and the consumption for the overall loads will be very high at a very short time. So for such scenarios, you can also use the battery. Use the hybrid inverter with battery to shave the high demand for short time high demand. And backup use, it's like I said, it's integrated in the unit. Okay, so and the inverter can switch from on-grid scenarios to off-grid scenarios automatically. So you don't have to switch it by yourself manually, and the switching time could be very short because we have integrated all the function units inside the inverter. So we can make the switching time very short. It's less than 10 milliseconds. Okay, for now, this is the quickest. It's the quickest switching time in the among all the manufacturers of any storage. Any storage provider. Okay, like the time of use. Time of use is for a lot of place, a lot of countries, because they have the different electricity price depends on time and depends on the load consumption. Okay, So it can use we have operation mode, you call it economical mode. Economical mode, you can set charge time and discharge time. And so, for example, you can charge the battery from the grid or from other power source when the electricity price is lower, and then you can discharge the battery to support the load when the electricity price is higher. It can save a lot of bills costs. Okay. Okay, so for the multi-scenarios compatibility, it means that you don't have to worry about if our hybrid inverters, if the energy storage system you bought is suitable for suitable for your scenarios or not, for your use or not. You don't have to worry about that, because GoodWe hybrid inverters with battery, they can suitable for almost all the scenarios for now, for residential house use. And you don't have to worry. You don't have to buy another unit, and a lot of times, all the scenarios is not separately. Okay, for example, in the house, they use the battery to increase the safe use ratio, and also they need a time of use together, and also sometimes they need a backup supply. Okay, so all the scenarios are maybe integrated. Is a combination of all the scenarios. So if you have the combination of scenarios requirement, it's better to choose inverter, choose the systems with all the functions, right? Okay. And this one, this integrated data manage, this could be a bit complicated. Because all the hybrid inverters from GoodWe, they integrated all the units, they integrated all the functions, and they also integrated all the components inside in the same purchasement and same order. So all the units inside, we have to detect the different types of data, like PV data. Okay, solar data, like grid data, also the conversion data. It's all detected inside the inverter. Inside the inverter, we have a lot of the sensors inside, and also sometimes we have cables. We use the circuit to detect the data of different energies, and also integrated smart meter from GoodWe. It can detect the power of the grids. You can detect the power to the grids, export to grid, and also the power both from grids, import from the grids to supply the loads. And also for the backup sites, we have a backup unit inside. So the backup sites, it can also detect the power of the emergency loads, even though the grid power is not available. Okay. And so if you check it out on our monitoring platform, we call it SAMS portal, you can see the data is shown up about the real-time PV power, and also the battery power, also the grid's purchasement power, also about the load power inside. And also we have calculated the load accumulated load power, and also the the accumulated battery charge or battery discharge power energy inside of the unit. Okay. So for now, we just have a short conclusion about the integration solutions. The first is the components integrated inside of the insides when purchase or purchasement order. So it means if you purchase the inverter, you don't have to worry about if the system loses some components inside. You don't have to worry about that. We have all the component sides, all the meters, and also the communication cables inside is also included inside. Okay. Another one is about the integrated units and integrated functions. For the integrated units and functions, it's a very benefit for the installation and to save time for the installations, and also save the money. And also, it's very easier for the transport, for the installation. It's easier. You don't have to connect so much cables. No complete cables. No complicated cables. It's just a very easy cabling. So it's we can say it's less chance to make mistakes for the installation, and also you can save space, and it's flexible for the installation space to choose the installation space. Okay. Another is all the units is integrated together as all the functions is realized in the same unit. So the whole unit could be higher efficiency and could be very how to say all the operations, all the operation modes, operation logics is integrated in one unit. It's very they can cooperate with each function together very well, because we have tested all the functions, all the function units at the same time. Every time we will test all. We don't have to choose different units to do it together. Okay. And it's it's used for multi scenarios. It means if you normally there will be different scenarios is required to be fulfilled in one house. Okay, sometimes it comes use, backup use, and peak shaving, or also if you will want to increase the self-use ratio. So for all these scenarios, you just choose one unit. You can realize for all the scenarios. You don't have to worry about if if the inverter can realize can meet your requirement or not. It's out of question. And also for the data, we have this free SIMS portal. We have all the detection points set inside the inverter, and the data about the DC side and AC side is all integrated in the unit. It's detected in the unit, and all maybe integrated, detected by the external smart meter, which is a default component with the inverter. And all the data will be collected with ARM chips. We have ARM chips to collect all the data, and the chips will send the data to the SIMS portal. SIMS portal is our monitoring platform. Okay. So for all the solutions, here you can see it's the integration solutions. It's an easy combination and also integrated, very integrated, and very high efficiency solutions for residential house use. Okay. Okay, so this is my sharing. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jack, for your introduction of the solar storage integrated solution. And then finally, we invited Errol Dorman, who is the founder and CEO of Dorman Projects. They have a particular expertise in solar energy installations. Errol will be talking to us from his first-hand experience of how GoodWe Integrated Solution can benefit them. Thank you, Errol, for joining us today, and we are looking forward to your presentation. Over to you, Errol.
Click on it. Good morning. Thank you, Megan. And Jack, David, thank you for the introduction. My name is Errol Dorman. I'm the CEO of Dorman Projects. We're a South African-based company and been in the South African market for 21 years. Specifically today, I'm going to speak to you about the benefits of the GoodWe, and I'm going to concentrate on the GoodWe 4.6 and the 3.6. We have particular experience with these inverters. So that will be the focal of my conversation today. As a bit of background, we've been 21 years in the industry. So speaking as experts, we can make a few claims. Since 2014, we've done more than 46 megawatts of solar, more than 21 megawatt sites we built across South Africa. We were fortunate to build the very first that I was aware of back in 2014. We ran into the GoodWe hybrids. They're one of the early hybrids that came into the South African market. We've, as David touched on, we're commissioning the MT50s and MT60s. So we've had quite a good run with GoodWe. Since 2014, we ran into the hybrid for the first time and deployed them on a variety of projects. Today, I want to really talk about some of the advantages that we find in the South African market. One of the challenges that I think all installers and EPCs to a certain extent, Dorman Projects work across the landscape of residential, commercial, agricultural, but we have more than 400 hybrids that have been installed and of various types and makes. So we often are challenged by other makes of inverters. And the question today really is, why do we use the GoodWe hybrid and what are its advantages? So as was touched on by Jack, the GoodWe hybrid, the GoodWe comes with all its components included. Meter. The meter plays a very important part in any setup, especially in today's market where you're trying to create a smart grid. Most of the other brands, other hybrids or other branded inverters don't have a meter, or they use a third-party meter. And often when you're doing, typically in the South African residential space, there's competition on price. And when you're needing to buy a proper meter or to create a proper setup, you'll find that this becomes a challenge. Touched on a while by Jack is the monitoring platform, and David, the SIMS monitoring portal is quite important. Other hybrids, they do not have a monitoring platform, third-party platforms. Again, we've worked with all of these third-party platforms. We test them. We've run them with a variety of brands of inverters, and there's always some type of problem or hitch or glitch that doesn't seem to work. The support and ticketing platform is something that Dorman Projects as a company over the years, we're very careful about which brands we partner with. And when we selected GoodWe, it was quite critical to us that not only are they a major player in the world market, but they also have a presence in South Africa and a support presence on the ground, as well as a ticketing platform. So that is very important to us in the selection of a partner. And when you get to other hybrids, and you find that those other hybrids don't have, they're not locally supported, and you find that they don't have a ticketing platform, so you're not able to get an answer or get a problem resolved or a technical issue. Many of the major brands of inverters we've in fact not to platform, not to use because of a poor support and a poor backup from a head office or local. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity is something else that you'll find on the other hybrids. They're not, you are not able to connect. It doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, and neither is there any app for monitoring. It doesn't mean to say that these hybrids are bad. It means that you've got additional costs when your client wants to have proper third-party or proper monitoring, and then has to go buy a third-party device, which is an additional cost, which I think is well covered by Jack on that it's all in one box, and that's important. The apps that you find from third parties, they vary. Some of them are quite great, but if you look at the SIMS portal app, I'll touch on that a little bit later, you are able to see quite a bit of information and data that becomes valuable to the modern consumer. Modern consumers are all about Androids and iPhones, and they want to know what is going on with the solar system and energy that they're saving. I think one of the most critical things in South Africa, which is not necessarily something that you face in other countries, but South Africa, we have the national regulatory standards for inverters. And then we also have local authority approvals. So in the city of Cape Town, where I'm based, where our head office is, and Johannesburg, the GoodWe is approved. It's an approved inverter and has NRS compliance. We find so many cases of inverters being sold in the South African market, and these inverters inevitably are not legally connected to the grid and are non-compliant, and that becomes a big issue for the consumer. So this is one of the advantages that we've had when we selected the GoodWe across most of its product. Obviously, easy to install and commission. So the PV Master app helps the installer. It helps him select, pick drop-down menus. We have more than 10 electricians in our company and 130 staff. We work across all the provinces. And it's important, for example, one of the challenges that installers have is commissioning the CTs. So the PV Master app is quite a nice tool for testing to see whether the CT is connected correctly. The GoodWe advantage is obviously with the meter, a lot of installers and non-technical people aren't aware of the importance of creating your own smart energy system, or what we would call a virtual grid. So that meter becomes critical to a total smart grid and a virtual grid. So the meter sitting upstream just below the supply meter. The other hybrids that don't have that meter traditionally are only able to connect with the loads that are on output, in other words, the backed up loads. With the GoodWe, the advantage is we can create this virtual grid. And with this virtual grid, the meter being the most critical part, the fact that the inverter can grid sync, that becomes a very important weapon in terms of giving a homeowner or a small business a solution in terms of energy. So the other inverters you'll often find cannot grid sync, therefore they can't export into the grid. And when I speak about a smart or a virtual grid, we are, you need to create the ability to feed geysers, aircon systems, and I'll touch on that in a slide in a sec. I think one of the things that we've also experienced tremendously is the issue of lithium compatibility. So we've moved with the hybrids back in 2013, 2014, where there wasn't a lot of lithium ion being used in the South African market. Today, we find that most of the inverter manufacturers are either putting a third-party program together and a third-party package that lets the inverters talk to the actual lithium ion pack. Now, we've spent a lot of money on that R&D. We've also had the experience of trying to have these third-party devices connect to existing inverters and other types of brands, but inevitably we find out a month later or 3 months later that the battery is actually flat. So the nice thing with the GoodWe, again, it's compatible with most major brands of lithium ion, has a great pull-down menu, and you're able to select the battery that you are using in your installation, BYD, Pylon Tech, and a host of other, of all the major battery manufacturers. Now, for other hybrids, we see this. We see in the South African market, installers will actually tell me that they've put a little device up that reads the voltage, and the client must monitor that. And they also just tell the client it works, but unfortunately, those inverters that are, let's call them voltage devices, they're not able to give an accurate reading of the lithium ion. So that's a big advantage. One of the big advantages with the GoodWe. Just a couple of installations that we've done. I think what's interesting to the South African market is we do have a tendency to use Bosal in all our installation work, but we also are compliant by using PVC. There's no reason you can't use either. The reason we would just use a Bosal in an installation is often in the roof space where there are other contractors, plumbers, air conditioning contractors. And the fact that there's really no string protection. The Bosal just gives us that more rigid and longer lifespan, and particularly in the roof space is where we find 3 months, 6 months, or a year down the line that things happen. We've got a couple of customers here over the years now that have also converted and are busy replacing the older other hybrids out and putting in the GoodWes. And the ease of transfer for that is quite straightforward, and it's really another option for installers or for people to consider for the South African market. Yeah, so I was talking a little bit about the smart grid and virtual grid. I think that we talk about ESS, and we have these wonderful tools from where we're heading to in our energy future. And it becomes critical when you're trying to give a proper solution to a client that he is able to have a smart grid and he's able to build a virtual grid. So what does it really mean? It really people need to understand that when you've got a homeowner that's got a high energy load, maybe 2 or 3 air cons, a geyser, these devices on a traditional inverter are not on the backup side. They have no benefit from the solar or the battery that is stored. With a smart grid, you're able to export upstream in your own grid and in your own virtual grid on your own property, and you're able to supply your pool pump, and you're able to supply your other large power devices like air cons, multiple air cons. So for installers reaching out for inverters, we find that when we're doing solutions for clients, that the concept of the virtual grid is the most important part for the customer. There is this dynamic of backup, but ultimately we will always advise the client that can be short in duration. If backup isn't a problem, we're really about energy and smart energy grids. Just a simple slide on a typical case study, just really showing on the top right of the screen, just shows it's a bit off screen, but this particular property's got self-use of about 87%, and utility power was about 12%. The client actually this was a client that I've known for many years and altered from one particular brand of hybrid. It was also changed out, and then he's really happy with that, and it's working extremely well. His energy bill, he has 3 air cons on his property. He has quite a large 10 kilowatt of lithium ion and roughly 3.5 to 4 kilowatt of solar. Don't have the specific number, but what this just demonstrates is that it is a proper energy solution. So had I deployed another hybrid that is not able to grid sync, I wouldn't be able to feed all those air cons, and there's no way that the installer will be able to achieve self-consumption and reduce his energy bill. Also the nice thing about the SIMS portal, there's a huge amount of data, couple of the screens that were shared, but there's a lot of energy analysis that can be done, that you can see what is going on the portal.
Now let's go to our last part, the quit and giveaway part. Now we come to the end of our webinar. Congratulations to all the winners. And we will send you the presentation and the recorded videos after the webinar. And if you want to learn more about the updated information of our products and training, you can also follow our social media accounts. And we will also update the latest information of the webinar and training on our website. So thank you for joining us today. We wish you all the best for a safe and healthy weekend. So thank you very much, and look forward to see you again. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.